We were promised sufferings. They were part of the program. We were even told, "Blessed are they that mourn." And I accepted. I've got nothing that I hadn't bargained for. Of course, it is different when the thing happens to be oneself, not to others, and in reality, not imagination. Cold were the winds that ushered you into the plane of darkness, and numb was the feeling of velvet despair as it attempted to ensnare your hope and drag you into the void. Resilient, you marched on to the tune of your own red, beating hearts. You met those who'd lost themselves, and the memory of their grief lasts longer than the memory of themselves. They were what you feared to become. Accursed, nameless hollows. Their stories long lost to the darkness, never to be seen, read, or told. Pushing past the oblivion and the temptation that you would never surmount, the obstacles laid before you, you made it. A clock tower stretching into the quickly vanishing sky, the last stretch of your journey. Scaling the floors, you discovered demons, shadows that huddled with discordant whispers in the corners of your mind. They tempted you to stop your quest and weakened your resolve. But you continued. Even when some lost years of their life, you continued. And then finally, your last challenge. Before you are archways that seem to mirror themselves infinitely into indifference. Atop a dais in the center of the closest archway is a bowl. Simple in design, it has about a 5-foot radius and a 4-foot depth. You all stand perhaps 15 feet away, shrouded in a thick mist. Eventually, one of you steps forward and a voice asks, "What do you sacrifice to be remembered? What do you give to sate those who hunger for hope? What will you give to not go hollow? How much do you forsake to be free?" You see Scratch approach the dais and raise his head to answer. Fleeting is the sound of a note. Briefly it lingers in the air before it's lost to the sands of time, losing the fight to resist the temptation to be drowned out by the silence, washed away by the silent air, drowned by the wails of those seeking redemption but unable to be heard, lost to the silence.
It's just a wheel grinding on some strings. The hurdy-gurdy was invented to provide a perpetual hum without the need to pause for breath. A constant. The first time I played mine in public, it was an act of rebellion. My future had been decided for me, and I needed desperately something for myself. I thought playing a shanty on a handmade commoner's instrument in the middle of a court party would bring me the hate that I craved. They loved it. They loved me. The pulse of music has stayed with me since then, the hurdy-gurdy's hum my only permanent companion. My constant. I don't know who I will be without the hum. I'm not sure there's enough of me in silence. But my friends need help and my mother needs freedom, so I will rip out my music and stumble forward on what is left. I sacrifice my constant. I accept the silence.
With a deft motion seen in a silhouette, you hear a cacophonous crack. Discordant strings of magic ripple aggressively through the weave before two being lost to the air, begging the question. Was Scratch's choice, was his music ever there? You see Belladonna approach the dais and raise her head to answer. Memories define who you are and make up the fabric of your existence. But the memories that hang heaviest are the easiest to recall. They hold in their creases the ability to change one's life organically forever. Even when you shake them out, they've left permanent wrinkles in the fabric of your soul.
I sacrificed for my freedom to remain whole the memory of my last happy day. The final time I saw my parents, my siblings. Before our village was destroyed, the last time I knew what it was like to be at peace.
I know for certain that we never lose the people we love, even to death. They continue to participate in every act, thought, and decision we make. Their love leaves an undeniable imprint in our memories. We find comfort in knowing that our lives have been enriched by having shared their love. Faster than light, yet stretching for an eternity, Belladonna lets loose the ties that bind her to the faces of her family before suddenly seeing their tormented faces contorting painfully, begging to be cut loose from the material plane, burning over the memory of normality, leaving in its wake pain. You see Yenfir approach the dais and raise his head to answer.
What do sacrifice? Are you fucking serious? We've already sacrificed so much. When do you get off demanding any sacrifice? Silence. Of course there's silence. If I truly have to relinquish a part of me, then how much will you take? How much do you want? With his life, there's always chaos, I suppose. Source, guide me. If it's a part of me you want, then I'll give you my humanity. Now don't get any big ideas. I'm keeping my soul. I mean my literal humanity. What makes me half human. It's the only connection I have to my mother. Her memories are the only good I've seen of humans, and I'll cherish them, no matter how brief they are. If you want a part of me, then here it is.
Grief can destroy you or focus you. You can decide a relationship was all for nothing if it had to end in death and you are alone, or you can realize that every moment of it had more meaning than you dared to recognize at the time. So much meaning, it scared you. So you just lived, just took for granted the love and laughter of each day and did not allow yourself to consider the sacredness of it. But when it's over and you're alone, you begin to see. Slowly, a blue light rises as Yenfir physically changes, becoming more thin and angular, losing his slightly rounded ears, but more than that, the connection to the Lady of Kirkwall, bringer of peace and prosperity to so many, a paragon of what the world needs to cure it. You see Vardy approach the dais and raise her head to answer.
You asked me what I would sacrifice to be remembered. Something that describes me very well is the brightness that I bring to others in this world. The angelic blood that runs through my veins. I think that getting rid of that to make sure that I am remembered in the people's minds that I care about, I think that would be more fitting than anything.
Who knows whether the best of men be known, or whether there be not more remarkable persons forgot than any that stand remembered in the known account of time. The first man had been unknown as the last, and Methuselah's long life had been his only chronicle. A flash of radiant energy is quickly swallowed by the mist, and then you see left severed from the celestial roots of creation, Vardy stands alone, her connection to Helm weaker than ever before, first dampened by the weight of a million sins, and then torn from her frame by an act of self-sacrifice. She steps forward, alone. You see Soresk approach the dais and raise his head to answer. It is ordained in the eternal constitution of things that men of intemperate minds cannot be free. Their passions forge their fetters.
I, Sir Resk Drakeclaw, offer the memory of the man who taught me the ways of an artificer, Jaresk Jadegut. He who showed me how amazing this world can truly be with such magnificent creations of metal and magic. I offer my memories of him in hopes that I may not go hollow. And if you don't accept this offering, then take of me all that you wish in this damned place. But I shall not be stopped here, and I shall rise from here to make our worlds a better place. A place where people don't have to suffer, as I've seen here. Take of me what you wish.
In general, art has preceded science. People have executed great and curious and beautiful works before they had scientific insight into the principles on which the success of their labors were founded. There were good artificers in brass and iron before the principles of chemistry of metals were known. There was wine among men before the philosophy of vinous fermentation. There were mighty masses raised into the air, cyclopean walls and cromlechs, obelisks and pyramids, probably gigantic Doric pillars and epilatures before there was a theory of the mechanical powers. Art was the mother of science. You see Chama turn away from the dais as he lowers his head, allowing his footsteps resounding through the dark halls of infinity to be his answer. Just because something bears the aspect of the inevitable, one should not, therefore, go along willingly with it. You see Eli approach the dais and raise his head to answer. Eli, a dwarven merchant and only surviving member of his crew, who is laid frozen in the waste of Ariel's plain of ice and snow. He stares into the basin and solemnly sheds a single tear. There is a long silence. And Eli never returns. You see Nimlatel approach the dais and raise her head to answer. you will lose someone you can't live without, and your heart will be badly broken. And the bad news is, you'll never completely get over the loss of your beloved. This is also good news. They live forever in your broken heart that doesn't seal back up, and you come through. It's like having a broken leg that never heals perfectly, that still hurts when the weather gets cold, but you learn to dance with the limp. You see Nimlatel look high towards the sky, that gray light that pierces the heavens, for she not dare look into the basin for what she fears it to contain. She stands afraid. Her actions speak louder than a million words. This woman of confidence, of pure chaotic energy who fights to survive, is broken, and she says through a hushed voice, "This is not my first sacrifice, but it is the one, the only one I have left. He was the last thread suspending me in the light. Without him, I can feel myself spiraling downward, falling to a place where I can no longer pull myself back up. The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen.